Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's Main Event. Drop kick now.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, kids. Tom Clark here, back with you again, once again on a Friday. Let's fix that before it looks like my forehead is just going to explode here. We had an interesting show last week with the Christmas special, or should I call it the holiday special here of the show. Few technical difficulties, in as much as I couldn't see anything. It was an interesting week. It was a good week, but it was an interesting week. And the special was, again, very interesting. So the lighting was off. Everything was off. Hopefully today we're looking a little bit better, yeah? And as we get cranking here today, we'll touch up a little bit of stuff here and there. Way too much. La, 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 la. There we go. You know what's cool is that on the audio version, you couldn't tell anything had happened. Isn't that a shocker? On the audio version, no one knows anything's going on, right? Which is a gentle reminder that if you have not subscribed to the audio version of this here little podcast, there's no time like the present. Tom Clark's Main Event been going strong since 2014. We are in season 10, going into season 11 or year 10 season. It's we've been doing it since 2014. We're season 11, year 10. Anyway, that's where we are. So we hope that you have enjoyed the show, and we hope that everything is going well for you and yours this holiday week. By the way, before we get really, really going here today, do me a favor, kids, smash the like button if you will. That would mean loads to me, as it always does. Smash the like button and do something else for me. Share this show on your feed. That'd be awesome if you could do that for me. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. And again, I would greatly appreciate it. For sure. So, yeah, take care of that for me if you would. That'd be awesome. And listen, well, let's talk about before we get started with anything else here today, let's talk about Christmas. Do you celebrate Christmas? Do you celebrate Hanukkah? Do you celebrate Kwanzaa? Do you celebrate holidays at all? If so, how did your week go this week? Did Santa Claus or whoever, whatever, holiday deity, character, personality, figure that you may send a list to for gifts? Did you get what you wanted this year? That's all I'm asking. I had a really good holiday, man. I have to be honest. In the House of Clark, everything was good. I have absolutely no complaints. And if I had any, nobody would care about them anyway. But yeah, dude, we had a really, really good time. We didn't overeat, which you think, usually this time of year you tend to overeat. We didn't go too awful crazy this year. I do have a fridge full of leftovers, if I'm being honest with you. However, it's all good. Yeah. Because, it's stuff that we will get through. I don't like to throw leftovers away. Okay. I grew up with a whole bunch of nothing. Can I be real with you? I grew up with a whole bunch of nothing in my refrigerator as a child. My mom did the best she could. That's another story for another time. But when you grow up in that circumstance, you tend to appreciate everything you have. I hate throwing anything out to this day. I'm like, give me a spoon. I'll eat it myself. Let's take it to somebody that might be hungry, right? Anyway, again, we don't have to get into it. But when you're raised in that fashion, you appreciate everything that you have. You work hard for everything that you have. And, it makes you want to give back to folks who could maybe use it. So hopefully a lot of us did that this year. And again, I hope that everybody out there having a great, not over yet, having a great holiday season. New Year's is next week, 2025. Here we come. Let's say our hellos this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Guten Tag, Sandy in Germany. Blackjack Brianne Milligan is here. Brianne finally got her an avatar. Good for you. She says right out the bat, she says, hi, I'm getting out. It's all right. I appreciate you hanging out with us. Eric Jackson in the house. Good to see you, my friend. JP says, it wasn't really. I didn't have a good feeling about that holiday special last week, man. Can I be honest with you? I did not have a good feeling about that thing at all. In fact, I was very disappointed when I was done. I'm just being honest. I was very disappointed the way everything turned out. Not you guys. You guys are awesome as always. Technical difficulties. It was very, very frustrating for me. And yeah, dude, I just wasn't happy. But it was awesome to be here, as always, with you guys, because you guys are awesome. But yeah, it was a struggle for me, if I'm being honest. But yeah, man, I'm glad that somebody enjoyed it anyway, and I appreciate you saying that as I continue to sort of play with the adjustments here as I go. So yeah, thanks everybody for sharing. I do appreciate you. Fernando says hello. Hope you had a great Christmas. I did. I hope you did as well. Sandy says he got all he asked for. JP says car died on Christmas Eve, but supposed to get it back today. Christmas was good. Davey, what's up? Davey says Tom got everything needed. Yeah, I can't be too upset. So the leftovers in the fridge are some finger foods from Christmas Eve, some holiday cocktail smokies done in the crock pot. We did have some little popcorn chicken, little chicken bite sandwiches. My kid done killed those things. We still have some candy left over because I'm a holiday dipper. Starting November 1st all the way through New Year's, really, I did candy and cookies and peanut butter crackers and stuff like crazy. It's kind of my jam. So I did those things. We've got some of that stuff left over as well. And then from Christmas, our Christmas Day feast, just the three of us at the house, we didn't cook it till yesterday because we were just jammed up on Christmas Day with snacks and sweets and finger food. So yesterday we had a ham, macaroni and cheese, stuffing, corn, sweet potato casserole, and we had some Parker House rolls. And man, I'm getting hungry. What else did we have? We had something else, I thought. I feel like I'm forgetting some green beans. And you know what's weird is that I don't eat green beans. I'm not a fan, but I can make a killer pot of green beans, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. It'll make you sit down and cry in a corner for an hour. It's that good. Just saying. I was going to bring some of that to the office today for lunch, but I didn't. Fernando, I'm sorry about that notification. Maybe it was because I thought I'd done it with enough time, but maybe I didn't. If I didn't, my apologies. Maybe that's what happened. My kid's doing well, Sandy. Thank you so much for asking. He's off work today. He works tomorrow. He worked on Christmas Eve. It's the first year that my kid has not been home with us all day on Christmas. So that sucked. Anyway, look, here's what I'll tell you. We do what we can when we can. We're not always perfect, but we do the best we can with what we have. And that's basically what we did through my holiday season this year. And I won't get into it, but did the best we could through the holiday season. That's all we can do. Sandy, last time we had a white Christmas here in this state was years ago. My kid was but a baby when it happened, like a toddler. Maria, good to see you. Maria's watching from the YouTube. JP says, I never get noticed on the show. I always had to look at it myself. That's so odd. Everything's turned on. By the way, are you guys following the main event on Facebook and not just the Tom Clark page, my page? Be sure you follow the main event page as well, because every page that I own on the Facebook that are my company, my production pages, I share all podcast links on every page. So, yeah, maybe something's up with the notifications. See, I've got some people saying they do and some people saying they don't. Gerald, thanks. Welcome to the show. Kids, while you're here, if you will, once again, smash the like button. I've got a hard out at 5 o'clock today, so I don't want to waste a lot of time with pleasantries, as it were. We're going to go ahead and get this thing cranking in style. Let's talk about the year that was. And today we're going to preview AEW Worlds End. And for some really quick hits here, what do you guys have this for 2024 that really jumps out at you? What is it that happened this year in 2024? No matter what the company, which company you're talking about, I don't care which company. What is it that that jumps out at you? What is it that you enjoy the most? Maybe it was WrestleMania in 2024. Maybe it was Roman's return and face turn, I guess, if that's what we're calling it. What else happened this year that's big for you? Do you know what I mean? Mox winning the championship, Danielson's retirement. What else happened this year that for you is just it's one of the greatest things you've ever seen? That's a highlight of a highlight of the year for you in professional wrestling. I'd love to know your answers there, kids. So yeah, anything you got. Again, all companies are on the table. Sandy says Drew versus Punk was amazing. That's a good choice. What else you guys have, man? As we know that, for a lot of what happened in AEW this year, we have sort of, at least in terms of ratings, we have seen the decline in that company. And, for better or worse, we don't have to get into a whole lot of it here. But, I'd be interested to see what you guys thought about that. Sandy, I know you said CM Punk return. That was in 2023. November 25th, 2023, at the end of Survivor Series War Games in Chicago, when Punk made his return. Brody King. Brody King has never been an underrated guy because I think we all know what he can do. But I think Brody's had a really, really good, solid year, man. I've been a fan of Brody since he was with Villain Enterprises in the original Ring of Honor. Huge fan. Huge fan. Fanner says Hangman versus Swerve, especially Hangman burned down a house. Yeah, for sure. Did you notice, by the way, on Cremus, that someone on the YouTube, maybe it was AEW's account, did a live loop of Hangman sitting in front of the burning house as a Yule log that you could put up on your screen for Cremus? That is some smart marketing right there, my friends. That is some awesome, awesome stuff. I was totally here for that. Totally here for that. That was so cool. Let's see. JP says CM Punk's return and Roman Reigns lost the title to Cody Rhodes at Mania. I figure a lot of people would feel that way. JP, great thing. Many faces of Tony Storm. Good pull. Maria says Sting's retirement. Another good pull. Sandy says, I mean the full-time back with no injuries. Okay, well, that's cool. That works. Yeah, I get it. Sandy also says the TNA and NXT thing was and is amazing. Cool. What else you guys got, man? What is it that's jumped out at you this year? While you are thinking of that, I want to share a little something for you that I've been working on here on my end. And I'll probably put this up at some point next week. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but you know what? I'm gonna download this so you can have a look, and I'll share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I started working on something last night into today, so we'll see. Davey said watched Bodies on the Ontario circuit. Watched Bodies on the Ontario circuit. Excuse me. So I'm guessing that means that you watched wrestling where you are. Forgive me, Davey, for not being up on the same level as you right now. Maria says the Rise, Tiffany Stratton. Good answer. JP says Hardy's winning the tag belts on Impact. What did you guys think? Listen, be honest. The Okada joining the Elite and all the hubbub that's been over that. Oh, they ruined Okada. They ruined Okada. I completely, vehemently disagree with that. And I'm sure that sometimes maybe I come off as being someone that debates for the sake of debating, but I genuinely don't believe anything about it Kazuchika Okada has been ruined in the slightest. And I think that when the time comes for them to press that button to remind you of how insanely phenomenal Okada is, meaning when he finally faces Omega again, it will absolutely happen. Absolutely happen. And then we'll all forget the ha-ha jokes and whatnot. But I think Okada's been very entertaining too as well. So I know that's been sort of a big topic of conversation this year. JP says return of Saturday night's main event. Another good call. Sandy said Triple H giving the wrestlers time off on the holidays, as he should, as they always should have. Fernando says, I'm one of those people, I want New Japan Okada back. I think you'll get him. And I think when you get him, I think it'll make everything fine. And again, kids, look, Fernando, to your point, you remember the original New Japan Okada when he came back from excursion and was the cocky challenger to Tanahashi. That guy was a heel, cocky, smug, and arrogant. That's who we have now. And you know that, but it fascinates me that people who should know that or maybe don't just assume that this character came out from out of nowhere, when the truth is this character's always been under the surface. It's what he started with, for sure. JP says Ricochet to AEW, good call. Davey says, what was my wrestling moment of the year? That's a good question, man. I don't know what my wrestling moment of the year would be. I may have to have some time to think about that. And the last program of the year would have been the time to answer the question. Yeah. That's a good question. I really don't know if I have one. I think the rise of Osprey has been something to watch. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't know if I have a singular moment, but I'll say the moments that their UK show I thought was very, very good. I was thoroughly entertained by that UK show. I think they've done a lot of good this year. And I've aired my grievances, my complaints with that company ad nauseum. And it is what it is. But no sense of getting back into it now. But I do think they've accomplished a lot of good this year. And that deal that they got this year, excellent job, man. I mean, again, I tell you, I don't care who you are, what your last name is, what you own or your family owns. No one's going to hand you free money. It's just not going to happen. So they've impressed people. He says, acknowledge me one more time of the year. Absolutely. For sure. Sandy says Chelsea Green win the Women's U.S. Championship. That just happened. Is that one of your big moments of the year? Punk joining forces with OG Bloodline for War Games. Jim, what's all going on? Jim Myers says Sting's retirement and the Rock's Bloodline involvement to Mania. Also, hello. It has been a while. How you been, man? Any predictions for 2025? I'm predicting we all get rich in 2025. Wouldn't that be nice? And at some point, I'll get a haircut and a beard trim in the new year. I don't know when it's going to happen. Look at all that. Disgusting. This is the biggest, most full it's been in a while. I think it's as full as it's going to get. I don't think it's going to go out any farther. Look at that, man. Look at that. Yikes. There we go. Look at that. Holy Lord. I'm sure I'm shedding everywhere. Maria says Thomas Tony Storm was the best character work for 2024. Hard to disagree with that. That's a good answer. That's a good answer for best thing of the year. They said I need to take off, but to you, Tom, and everyone, have happy New Year's. Don't shave the beard. Come on, Davey. Davey, good to see you. People be jumping in and jumping out. It's all right. Everybody's busy. I get it. Holidays are a tough time to podcast, man. Tough time to podcast. By the way, if you are so inclined to check out Tom Clark's 6M podcast, you know what you're going to get? The Christmas special is up now on all these social media platforms, and it's also available wherever you get your podcast. We did a live watch along of Die Hard. There's 5 of us in the room. It was a great show. We all had a blast. And if you're a fan of Die Hard, which, yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so everybody get over yourselves. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Cue up Die Hard and watch it, and use our audio commentary and watch along with us as we watch it, because I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Thoroughly enjoy it. I do things to the beard, and it doesn't really come across on video too much, but I do things to the beard to young myself up a bit. I've just not been spending a ton of money on it. I'm being real. I want to bring up a little something for you, because I said I was gonna, and I'm gonna put this graphic up. I just have to. I just haven't done it yet. I'll find it. There we go. How about that? So by the numbers for the calendar year of 2024, and apologies for it being all wonky, all right? But for the calendar year 2024, counting today, 27 episodes of Tom Clark's Main Event. Counting next Tuesday, 49 episodes of Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. And in total for the year of 2024, 22 episodes of Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. There you have it, kids. I just wanted to share that with you. I'll be posting that at some point next week. I'm pretty proud of that. I forget what it was for the year before. Could have been bigger. You know, we did take quite a big break from the main event. You guys know that from December of 2023. It was December 9th to May 25th of this year. So I lost a good 5 months of the show, which would have that would have bumped that number 27 number way, way up there, man. But look, whatever time I have the podcast, I take it. Whatever opportunity I can take to hang out with you guys, I absolutely do it. So yeah, it's just one of those things, man. But yeah, we do what we can. Real world gets in the way. We all get busy. So that's part of it for sure. Robbie's here. What's up, man? Good to see you. He says, Tom for mayor. They don't want me in politics. JP says, MJF turned evil again. I submit he probably always was. He also says, moment of the year is Liv. Become the greatest women's champion ever. Calls her Mommy Liv. Yeah, there you go. Fernando, good call. Lethal Weapon 1 was a good Christmas movie. People forget. It's in the archives of the 6M podcast, Fernando. It's not there as a watch along. It's just there as a movie review. But if you enjoy the film, go check it out. Tom Clark's 6M podcast. And in a minute, we're going to roll the trailer for Boink Studios. You'll get to see all the shows as we typically run every week. So yeah, we can always talk about these things as we go. I'm missing Ray all day. Wonder where Ray is today, kids. Interesting that he's not here. Ray had wished me Merry Christmas on Christmas Day, and I appreciated that, as I appreciated everyone here dropping a message on the Facebook. So yeah, very much appreciated. All right, let's talk a little bit about, and we're going to stay loose form here throughout the course of the show. This is the last episode of the year for 2024 for Tom Clark's Main Event, episode 358. Could have said all that to begin with, just didn't do it. But that's anyway, that's what we're doing. So there you go. Before we talk about the big show coming up tomorrow, he says, do you make any New Year's resolutions? Usually not. I'm making one to donate at least once a month to a local charity. Good for you. Make haircut funding to several nonprofits and completely cut some nonprofits. One she completely cut was the only women's domestic violence shelter. Dude, what is the thought behind that? Budget cuts and we cut charities in order to save a dime? The people who really need that money will miss it. I doubt the city that you live in needs it that badly. It just shows you how inept every level of government is. Not just federal, but state as well, and local, right? Before we dive into AEW Worlds End, kids, if you will, check this out.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
There you have it, kids, boinkstudios.com. Please go check out the website. I maintain it and update it as often as I possibly can. So I think you'll dig it. Links are there to all the social media platforms, to all three shows. We do have a fourth podcast coming in 2025. It is myself, Jay Luft, and Joe Higgins, and we'll be doing another full review of a show. One of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed about 2024 was finishing our Ted Lasso review show, Two Nations Under Ted Lasso podcast. Every episode from all 3 seasons has been reviewed with a preview at the end of the beginning of the season and a review at the end of the season coming. And very thoroughly, I'm just thoroughly proud of the effort that both the guys put in, and that we just had a blast. I could not have done it without them. And if I did do it without them, no one would care because it wouldn't have been that great. But I thoroughly had just had a great time. And I hope you guys have checked it out. If you've never checked out the Ted Lasso show, you are truly, truly missing a great piece of television programming. So I thoroughly encourage you to go check it out. It is available on the Apple TV, and it's worth it. If you only get the network for a month, binge it and then cancel your service. It's worth it just to watch Ted Lasso. What a great show. Can't say enough good things about it. Can't say enough good things about it. And again, if you enjoy the show, you will enjoy the podcast because we do that show justice from start to finish. We provide very thoughtful commentary. We're not 3 know-it-alls. We don't claim to have everything figured out, but we connect so many dots and layer upon layer upon layer of context and texture and everything. It's like peeling back the onion of that show. And that's what we do on Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. So again, if you will, check it out. Yes, Jim, be a goldfish indeed. Josh, good to see you. Yes, sir. Happy New Year to you and yours as well. All right, kids, let's talk about AEW Worlds End. What you guys think about that? Let's talk about this. Here's the card as of today on Friday. This is without anything else being added. This is what we got. Mercedes Moné defending the AEW TBS Championship against Chris Statlander. Konosuke Takeshita versus Powerhouse Hobbs for AEW International Championship. Mariah May and Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight for the AEW Women's World Championship. MJF. He is the holder, of course, of the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Bam. He is facing Adam Cole in a match for the ring. Cole will have Taven and Bennett at ringside. And if you think that Bennett and Taven are turning on Cole, boy, I'm going to tell you right now, you've been paying attention to wrestling. You know how wrestling works. Of course they are. Yes, they're gonna. Get ready. It's coming. It's pretty darn obvious at this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle joined them. And Roddy. Look, man, I don't know. MJF as a heel works best with henchmen. Doesn't necessarily have to have them, but MJF is a coward and he runs and hides because great heels know how to play the game, and he's one of those types of heels, right? So I think he's going to surround himself with flunkies and yes men, and Bennett and Taven will be 2 of them. Just my thoughts. We've got Kazuchika Okada versus Ricochet in the Continental Classic semifinal, and Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in the Continental Classic semifinal, and then the Continental Classic final for the AEW Continental Championship. Here's who I have in this. I don't know what you guys think, but I think we're going to end up with Okada and Ricochet. That's what I think. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that's kind of how I see it. And then, of course, in a 4-way match, the AEW Worlds Championship, Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Switchblade Jay White. I am very much looking forward to this card, to that match. I won't provide a whole lot of commentary here on it today because, as you guys know, holy Lord, when Tom starts, it's hard to pull him back in. Yeah? So I'll try to keep it concise. Short and concise. Jim says, what a waste of a storyline. Are we talking about MJF and Cole? I didn't like this storyline the moment they put it back together. This weird thing, and I've vented on this before, I'll try not to do it too much here. This weird thing where they tried to retrofit, Cole's heel turn on MJF, but the MJF heel turn. Well, I turn on you before you're going to turn on me. Yeah, I was going to turn on you. but you didn't know I was going to turn on you because I didn't like you. So I wasn't your friend to begin with. No, well, yeah, well, I was going to turn on you. Stop. The thing they did when Cole was still messed up and NJF, dropped him. All right, so Cole comes back, he does the thing with the whole devil, I'm the devil nonsense. And then NJF dropped him. I think that's how it went. And then like Cole came back again and I'm face again. How are you face, dude? What are we talking about? Anyway, the whole thing is effing messed up. It didn't work. I don't think it worked for freaking anybody. It didn't work for me. Pardon me. I love both those guys. It didn't do anything for me. He says she cut them completely due to politics. I donated to Mariposa earlier this month of Pueblo, formerly called YWCA. There you go. Let's see here. What's everybody saying about the card? Jim says, I'm still confused. Buddy, you and me both. Robbie says, John will probably win, but Orange deserves to win. Robbie, in my opinion, I think this whole thing's being set up for Darby to become the new world champion. And I don't know that it's going to be tomorrow night. But this is one of the most confusing storylines. It's probably, to me, it's more confusing than Cole and MJF. I know why they're doing that. They're just trying to circle back and wrap it up after Cole got hurt. I know why they're doing it. I don't like it. I don't think it's working. I think the fans are telling you it's not working. I think that a bucket of ice water got thrown on the whole thing when Cole got hurt. Not his fault, but that's what I think, right? And so I know what they're doing. I'm not confused by it. And on those terms, I am confused by the whole Mox thing. Because once again, Mox cuts this promo on Wednesday night after the show's off the air talking about, no one's going to win. And, it's more important than ever. And I'm just paraphrasing, more important than ever to get this right. And, I got to do it soon. He's back to talking about it. I got to do it soon again, kids. You know what that means? Back to referencing stuff that no one understands or even knows about what he's freaking talking about at this point. No one knows. You don't know. Don't act like you know. I don't know. No one knows. No one knows what he's talking about. In time for what? For God's sake, Mox, what are you even talking about, man? Guess what? Nobody knows, Jack. Nobody knows. It's the truth. Jim says, where's the whole Mox thing going? Brother, I couldn't tell you. Fernando says, Tony doesn't know how to pivot. 100%. Mean Gene, what's up? Mean Gene is back home from a cruise, and now she's on her way to her Orlando resort for the weekend. Well done. Gene is living her best life. All the rest of us are just a bunch of working schmucks, and Gene's living it up. Have a great time. You're awesome. Thanks as always for hanging out. So to quote for Jim to answer what we're talking about here, to quote Ric Flair, I think this was on Rick's documentary several years ago in his DVD. Great comment, great quote. And again, we've all got thoughts about Rick. I get it. But I'm talking about from a purely pro wrestling point of view. His comment about, when things went south, when Crockett in the very end of the NWA was trying to keep up with WWE, which was impossible because of production value. It was light years difference between the two companies at that point. Because McMahon had just increased so far and moved so far in front of Crockett. But again, paraphrasing, Rick says something to the effect of, the ability to know when to make decisions, the ability to know when to move left or move right makes all the difference. And your best bookers know when to make those moves. And the guys that don't know how to make those moves, ultimately, they don't succeed. I think Gato in New Japan has a history of knowing when to make those moves. And I've heard it argued that this past year and a half is proof that he's lost it. That because AEW, robbed his locker room. And I get a lot of that sentiment. I've heard it and read it several places, to be honest. And I get it to a large degree. But at the same time, you have to make do with what you have. You have to work on with who you have. And he's got some great young, talented guys there. So is he making the right moves today that we will feel 5 years from now? It's hard to know right now. We'll find out when we get there. But for me, I would have always placed Gato in that elite class of bookers that innately know and understand when to move left, when to move right, when to go forward, when to pull back. And, if you don't know when to do those things and all that, back to say this, I don't believe that Khan knows how to do those things. And that's not personal. That's coming from a guy that's not hired by that company, that I don't work for them. I get it. And I'm not trying to own anybody. I'm not trying to, I told you. It's just one guy's opinion. I don't know if there's been a lot of degree of attention paid to what comes next, because there should always be a thought of what comes next. And look, maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe they're so far above what we all think. Maybe they're so far ahead of the game and none of us see anything, and we won't see anything for years to come. I have no idea. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, is that it feels to me, to a large degree, there's not a lot of attention being paid on what happens next. But I could be wrong. But I haven't said all that. I still watch. There was some great wrestling on Wednesday Night Dynamite, dude. Great wrestling on that show. My God. Dude, Brody King and Will Ospreay, are you kidding me? What? Tore the house down. Great wrestling on that show. Commander beating Claudio. That was nice, right? Awesome stuff, man. Ricochet and was it Ricochet and Darby? Dude, great show. Shelton and Okada. Those matches alone are enough for the price of admission, right? Jim says it seems like TK is just booking on the fly, like he has an idea but doesn't ever know how he wants to end stories. It's possible, and you would think that wouldn't be the case at this point in time, 5 years in. But I'm inclined to agree with you. Either that or we just can't see it. I don't know. Fernando says, I struggle understanding Moxley and the goal of the Death Riders. I couldn't agree more. No one seems to understand what they're doing because John's back to speaking in riddles again. So they're going to simulcast from Max and is it Max and TBS both? So I've had a Max subscription for a few years now, so maybe since the beginning. And I'll be good to go on that. I wonder how it'll play out on Max. I would hope that that they'll keep commentating between commercials so you don't miss anything. You know what I mean? That'd be cool. Gene says, do you mean Orton? Is Randy Orton hurt again, or is it a work? I don't know. Jim says the in-ring wrestling is untouchable, but you need more than just great wrestling. And look, I think they have some good storylines running. I don't even think it's they don't have stories, because I've read comments we've all read and heard. I don't agree with any of that. I think they do have plenty of entertaining and good stories happening right now. I just don't know how many people care about them. Number one, all of them. And do we truly know what the beginning, middle, and end is? Do we have any idea where these stories are even going? I mean, I'm just curious. You know what I mean? How many stories in AEW do you not really care about? And look, a lot of that's subjective. I get it. But a lot of it isn't subjective, because it's based on how much a promotion can heat up a feud, can heat up an angle to make you want to buy tickets or buy a pay-per-view to watch the blow-off match. That's what we're really talking about here, yeah. And I can't answer that for everybody. I can only answer for myself. I would be a lot more in line with what they're doing with the Death Rider stuff if I knew what in the world John was talking about. And it's okay that there's some mystery, but it does at times feel like that it's just kind of being done as they go. And look, if that's how they want to do it, it's their promotion. They can do it. If that's how they want to run it, more power to them. Again, it's their promotion. They can do what they want to do. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I enjoy watching. I'm not going to stop watching. Again, my point, my goal, right, is not to run anybody down or to destroy that company. My goal is to just understand what I'm watching. And a lot of times I'm at a loss as to what I'm seeing. But that's me. They've got lifers like WWE has lifers. That's AEW ride and die, man. Right? So they don't care what happens. They're never leaving. I get it. I get it. Fernando says the NWO was quick to the point. What do you mean by that? I'm interested to hear your point on this. So yeah, that's where we're at, kids. Folks, I've got about 13 minutes to the top of the hour. Just a friendly reminder, we got a hard out today at 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to take the show home. So everybody just hang in, hang out. 13 minutes to go, and we'll talk about some other stuff here. And I tell you what, let's see. Ray has flat out missed the show. Very odd that Ray would miss the show. Usually Ray's here all the time. So yeah. It's funny because I just checked his our messages on Facebook Messenger, and it dates back to November 22nd. I wonder if Ray got hacked. I'd be curious to know if Ray got hacked. Let's see what happens. I just messaged him. We'll see if he pops up. It's odd that it would do that. Here we go. Fernando says the NWO were quick to the point when they first assembled. It was to take over WCW. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, Mox has said stuff like there's nobody here that can, no one takes it seriously. They all just want to, what was it he said Wednesday? They want to be on their cell phones all the time. I'm like, where'd that come from? What are you, old man? What are you talking about being on our cell phones? Cell phones is ruining the world. I'm going to shake my fist at the cell phone tower and at Bill Gates. What do we mean? What are we talking about? I don't know. I take pictures of this belt, show off my title. That's why I put it in the bag so nobody could see it. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, look, man, look, if this is working for you, it's working. Yeah. Jay says, hate to say it, but do you think Mox might be trouble with his recovery and he's so big for AEW that they're dealing with it? Like his sobriety? No, I don't honestly think anything's happening like that. I don't think anything's happening like that. I mean, I think anything's possible, but I don't think so. To my knowledge, he's still good, but who knows? You know, I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of John is a really, really smart guy, and John can cut great promos. And John has the best interest of that locker room at heart. And I think John truly loves being in that company. And I think all those things put together should mean great pro wrestling angle. But for whatever reason, it's just, right? Maybe not so great. Maybe it's just not clicking. I don't know. Fernando says, why is the AEW World Championship in the briefcase? According to him, no one deserves to see it. He's not going to show it off. I'm like, you're a world champion. What are you talking about? Jim says, I watch too. You're not the only one that feels that way. I get lost with the start-stop stuff like Death Rider's thing. I could get into it if I had a clue where it's going. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, kids, Ray didn't join us today. I'll send him a message. We'll see. Hopefully he didn't get hacked or anything. I just sent him a message. I think he just saw it. But yeah, for sure, Gene. I totally agree with you. Yeah, totally agree. JP says, I think they're delaying the reveal of the man that is the actual leader of the Death Riders. And I agree. And at the same time, JP, I'm very surprised by that. Because who do you imagine John Moxley taking orders from? This isn't Dean Ambrose, they were all three answering to Triple H as a character. This is John Moxley, who answers to no man. Closest thing we've seen to it is Regal. Fernando says it's Shane. You really think that something's happening with Shane behind the scenes? Anything's possible, but I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't know if that ship has sailed I really don't have any idea. But I have no desire to see Shane McMahon back on my TV for any reason, for any company. But here's what I'll ask you. Same thing I asked you kids 6 months ago, whatever the number is now, when we talked about it for the very first time. Okay? What does he bring to that company that they don't already have? And if you say ratings, be honest with me. Can he sustain the rating? If he's not in the ring and we don't want him in the ring, and all he does is come out with a mic and he's booking matches on TV or whatever he's doing and hanging out with Mox and his guys, is that enough to spike ratings? And not only spike ratings, but to spike them consistently enough to make a difference in the long run. That's all I got for you. And look, if the answer is yes to all of that, cool. But shout out to Phil Lindsay. Phil made a great point and has made a great point, and Ben, he stuck it to his guns for months on end now, is the idea that, bringing in a Shane McMahon would directly fly into the face of everything that AEW as a company stands for. And it would do things that they said they would never do with AEW. Because they don't want to be a WWE Part 2. They want to do things differently. They do things their own way. They don't want to have McMahon attached to it. I happen to think that's the best thing for everybody. But I could be wrong, and the thing could blow up and get over like gangbusters, dude. But who knows? Who knows? We shall see together. We'll find out together. Pardon the gigantically loud gaming keyboard that you just heard. One day I'll get a softer keyboard. I should just hook one up. I've got one lying around somewhere. I just got to find it. So yeah, I've sent a search party out for Ray. There he is. Ray, we thought you didn't like us anymore. I told E it was all his fault that you weren't here. Jim says, I don't see Shane coming into AEW to just be a character. He's going to want to be in charge of something. Will Tony give up control? At least a measure of control behind the scenes. It's a good question. All right. Ray hits us with De La Soul. Somebody in De La Soul. I missed your first part, Ray. Part 2, DMX or Ice Cube. I got to go DMX, especially now. And if Adam Cole invited you to the grand opening of the Adam Cole Winter Jacket store, what kind would you get? I'm a zip hoodie guy, always. And if you said you could bring a friend to get one, would you please call me? Sure. Later, want to get dinner, which included a delicious barbecue chicken with French fries and a slice of pecan pie. Could I join as well? Absolutely. Oh, Tribe or De La Soul? Gotta go Tribe. Without Tribe, there's no De La Soul. Brandon says, who do you think should win the Continental Classic? I did have a pick for the Continental Classic, and now I can't remember who it was I picked. Goes to show you that I've slept since then. I did have a pick, but I think I said that it was Kyle Fletcher's to win. I kind of think Kyle Fletcher should win it. But you know what that means? If it's Kyle Fletcher's to win, it'll be Kyle and Ospreay in the final, which means, Ospreay's going to have to actually it can't, right? Because Will and Fletcher in the semifinal. Hey kids, everybody say hey to the boy. You got to get down here and say hey. There he is. Look at him, bearded up with the hair in the eyes. I had like 3 different people ask about you. Huh?
I'm right here.
Yeah, he says he's right here. Yeah, people always ask about the boy. So yeah, Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in the semifinal. So it means it can't be the two of them in the finals. I think Kyle Fletcher maybe beats Ospreay again, and then Kyle Fletcher beats, I don't know, what do you think? Ricochet? Is that enough of a final for you? That's a good one. I think no matter what they decide to do, it's going to be a great match. And then the final will be a great match because it's what they do. Hey, you in there? Son. He can't hear me. Ray, I was going to ask him. I've never heard him really talk about that guy. Never really heard him talk about that guy. Rob says, here's a head scratcher for you. You and I grew up watching the territories, so if someone were to bring back a defunct territory company back, which company would you want to see come back? And who could run it successfully in this new era? I think World Class Championship Wrestling is the answer. I think that would make the most sense. I don't think AWA would work because I think Aganya would have to be attached to some degree. And I think AEW would be tough. World Class Championship Wrestling, I'd be interested to see what it could look like. But I think it would be awesome to have a Von Erich attached, or someone that grew up, in the business or that's connected to that company, to that brand, to that family. That'd be awesome. Could it get over? I don't know. And I'm talking, just locally in Texas, like on a network affiliate or something. Could they get TV? I don't know. I think that'd be interesting to see. That'd be my quick answer without thinking a whole lot about it. He says, the boy gave you those gray hairs. Of course. No, he's good. Ray says, do I like heel Ricochet? Ray, here's what I'll tell you. They had to do something. They had a choice, right? They had to do something. And I don't think anything else made any sense than to just turn him heel. I don't think you can have a babyface Ricochet trying to keep up with a babyface Will Ospreay. I don't think Ricochet's had the as good of a run as I think people were hoping he was going to have since he got to AEW. And I think as a heel, he'll be entertaining. He'll be a pain. He's got the kind of face you want to punch anyway. But now I think he'll really get over in this new vein. I think he's going to be good. He's already getting over as a heel. So we'll see how he's going to be that heel. You know what I mean? Just that guy that runs, kind of like MJF to a certain degree. But the Hurt Syndicate putting him on blast was weird to me because those guys should be heel. But I want everybody to remember something too. This is AEW where heels and faces don't matter. So a lot of what I just said doesn't really make a difference at all. But yes, I think he'll be very effective in this role. Banana says, better Christmas movie, Home Alone or Die Hard? Traditional Christmas movie, I'll say Home Alone's better. For fun Christmas movie, Die Hard for sure. If I could build the ultimate salad, what would it include? Well, blue cheese would have to be the dressing. I'm talking about chunky blue cheese that makes your mouth pucker. For sure. That'd be a must-have thing. I don't necessarily need meat on my salad. Like people dump a lot of meat on it. I don't necessarily need that. I like the little crispy fried onions on my salad. I like something crunchy like a nut or something on my salad. It's good. I like boiled egg and cottage cheese. Can't have salad without cottage cheese. That's a must-have thing. And cucumbers, and I'm not much for cold peppers. I like broccoli on my salad. Yeah. It's the open floor. We talk about anything on the open floor, man. Ray says I was the Hammerstein Ballroom when they were throwing toilet paper. Oh, that's fun. He just made a face at blue cheese. Well, I don't know if you and I can be friends anymore. That's kind of a problem for me, man. When will Darby take down Moxley, in your opinion? I think it'll be in 2025. I don't think it'll be tomorrow night. I could be wrong. Do I have New Year's plans? Probably not. Probably not. What about you guys? Anybody got anything great happening next week? Robbie says Ricochet gets over as a heel in AEW than he did as better as a heel in AEW than he did as a face in WWE. I think I tend to agree with you on that. Well, kids, guess what? I told you I had a hard out at 5 o'clock, and I absolutely do. The last episode of Tom Clark's Main Event is now in the books. Episode 358, the last episode of the calendar year 2024. So I appreciate everybody here hanging out. I do very much appreciate you. Thanks very much for supporting the show as you always do. We're going to be back next Friday, 1 week from today, with the very first episode of 2025. The very last episode of Tom Clark's 6M podcast comes out this coming Tuesday, and This is Spinal Tap. So I think you'll enjoy that one. That's myself and Chris Patton. We had a blast reviewing that movie. I think you'll be up for that, and hopefully you'll dig it because we had a lot of fun doing it. And then a week from that Tuesday, the first episode of 2025 for Tom Clark's 6M podcast will premiere. Two Nations Under Ted Lasso podcast, as we know, finished up in this year, 2024. Look out for myself, Jay, and Joe. We'll be back with a brand new review show of another podcast coming in 2025. Stay tuned for that. We'll be releasing information as we get there. But in the meantime, I want to say from me to you, Thank you so much for always watching, for always supporting us here at the show, for always tuning in, for sharing, for liking, and doing all the above. It means loads to me. I hope everybody here had a great holiday week. I wish everyone here a great, happy, healthy, and safe entry into 2025 from 2024. Everybody, please take care of yourselves next week, and everybody be safe out there. And again, thanks to everybody for always being there for us. It's always a blast to be here hanging out with you. I continue to look forward and always look forward to doing more podcasting with you taking a look, watching live, downloading after the fact, and supporting wherever you can. Again, it always means loads to me. Please remember to visit boinkstudios.com, BOINK, boinkstudios.com, to check out everything about the show, podcast links, social media links, you name it, we've got it. And it's updated very, very often, very regularly, very frequently. So go check it out. That's all I got for you here, kids, today. Again, thanks much for hanging out. Everybody, have a great weekend. Have a happy and healthy and safe New Year's. Don't miss the 6M podcast coming this Tuesday with This is Spinal Tap. And we'll see you a week from today right here on Tom Clark's Main Event. See you, kids.